Hey everyone, we are back for another week of exciting rehearsals. This week we're talking about the Blue Stars alumni, and we have so much other news. We also find out what made Trish say,
"They're not in step, they're not in uniform, they're not, what is this? Whatever, blah, blah, blah."
And why Woody said,
"I'm drumming in the rain, I'm drumming in," and then we picked up with the rest of the speaking. And
all this and more. So get out on the field and we will see you back on the sidelines for this week's episode of On a Water Break.
8 off the mat and go. Welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk everything marching arts.
Everyone, bring it in. It's time for a water break.
Episode of season 2 of On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk about everything you and your friends are talking about at rehearsal on a water break. I'm Jackie Brown. We are in for an exciting rehearsal this week. I am just back from my Blue Stars alumni performance, and it was amazing. You're going to get to hear all about it because, seriously, I have not performed in so long, and especially I haven't been involved in anything DCI personally in so long, so that's exciting. But before we get to all that, let's see who's on the sidelines this week. Hi, Trish.
Hi, everyone. How's everybody doing today?
we're doing fine, Trish.
Good. Feeling that after DCI performance, like kind of like depression a little bit, but
I know, I hear you.
like it's almost like coming home from tour, even though it's just a weekend.
Oh, but it felt like tour. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it sure did.
It's amazing how that
Woody.
little bit of time killed you, right? Yes, Jackie, you called?
How are you?
Fantastic, you little blue star, you.
And Austin.
Hello, Jackie. How are you?
I'm great. I am so glad you're here. We haven't been on together, I don't know if we've been on together ever. I listen to you all the time, though.
I don't think we have. Now that I think about it, there's so many hosts. It's just been, there's so many. It's hard to keep up.
Well, and it's true. And we talk to each other so much off of the podcast. It's just like, I know everybody. We talk all the time, but have we been live together? I think this is our first time. So congratulations, Austin. We're on together, finally.
Yeah, finally.
Well, and back again as a co-host, fresh off of our Blue Star alumni performance as well, it's Jeremy Denzer. Hi.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be back. I feel like I was just here a few weeks ago, and it's been a crazy month. Coming off of Pride Guard season, 5 parades in 4 weeks, and then immediately into the Blue Stars alumni.
Oh my! How do you do that? Oh my gosh!
Without even taking a break, so.
I say how you do that. There was a point in time I probably could have been able to do that, but not anymore. So how was that? How was the Pride Guards for you?
It was, I love it. It's, we're going to talk in the news segment about parades, but I love these parades, and it's just joyful and it's fun. The hard part is, I was responsible for helping organize both the Pride Guard as well as the Blue Stars Alumni Guard. So it's not only just performing, but also getting to do a lot of admin work on the back end too, and writing choreography, all the fun stuff. But yeah, so it's been crazy. I'm ready for a little break.
I, for one, appreciate your help in organizing the Blue Star Guard because, your videos were great and you did such a good job instructing on all of the choreography. I learned it, weeks in advance of coming, so it was awesome. All right, so we're going to jump right into the news today because we have got some news stories that are going crazy. All right, Austin.
Yes, I would love to. Starting off with a little bit of sad news. It's kind of old, but also sad. We're talking about the Guardians and how they're going to end tour early. So the board of directors got together and with the corps director and everything, and they decided to shift to an abbreviated tour schedule. They're going to be going up through the Mesquite, Texas show, which follows right after San Antonio. Honestly, it really sucks to see that happen, but it's better for them to do that and end the tour early than it is to go on, try to push on, and then not make it all the way to finals, and then dealing with fallout from all of that. They're keeping kids safe. They're doing what's right financially so that they can last longer, which it's the smartest thing to do, and more corps need to look at them as an example.
I totally agree with that. I think it's interesting that they make the decision, and people are like, "Oh, they're leaving mid-tour, and it's horrible for the kids." It's not horrible for the kids. Imagine if the kids went on tour and had an awful experience.
Right.
It's smart.
Well, that's the person who has never really been in the operation room before, who says, "Oh, it's horrible for the kids." Well, it's horrible when they don't have food.
Exactly.
On the road. That's horrible. Whoa, nice sound effect.
And if you do that, we've seen a ton of corps that take that route and go on tour and give the members a bad experience, and then they disappear forever. And they're saying that they're going to keep going. They're just not going to keep going to DCI. They'll be back next year.
It is the smart choice, most definitely.
And the best part about it is that if there's like at the Mesquite show, if there's kids who really want to keep marching and there's holes elsewhere, they can literally just go hop on another bus. Like, I've seen it happen before. Like when I taught at Troopers in 2021, we picked up battalion kids. I think we picked up 2 or 3 because we needed kids, and we said, "Here, hop on our bus." Right after their, I think it was the Denver show. Maybe it was right before then. I don't know, but we've picked up kids from battalion before, and they were phenomenal, and we were so glad to be able to give them an opportunity to keep going.
And I'm hoping that with them announcing it weeks in advance, that some of these kids have already found a home. Yeah.
Right.
That they'll continue their season, and that they already know where they're going as soon as they're done. Yeah.
It's like free agency for drum corps, huh?
Right.
Well, I didn't even know.
Trish has brought a story today that is absolutely near and dear to my heart. So why don't you do yours next, Trish?
Okay. So the Spartans Drum and Bugle Corps are friends from the open class, DCI. They have been selected to march in the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade. According to their press release, they were selected from more than 100 applicants to march in the 2025 parade. And they're saying that they're excited because it's an amazing way to celebrate the Spartans' 70th anniversary. So they're super excited about that. They had a big, friends and family type show that they were doing before they left out for tour, and that was the night they announced it. So everybody was really excited. If you want to hop to their social media and check out the kids' reactions when they found out, it was really super cool.
Those of you who know me, you know I love the Macy's Parade. Spartans, I want to come find you. We will take some pictures and put them all over social media.
I have a friend on the admin staff, and I've already volunteered. I said, "You need me, you know where to find me." So.
And it sounds like they're opening up to alumni as well. So what I read in the press release, so it should be a big group. Yeah.
Well, there's one guy who was the drum major. He was slated to be the drum major for his age out year, which was 2020. And he's currently on their merch team. He's on tour with them right now with their merch team. So I could see him jumping in there, and a lot of other kids that didn't get to have that season jumping in there as well. So what a great experience for them as well.
It's so awesome to see drum corps in the Macy's Parade on such a national stage. I think the last time we saw somebody was Scouts, if I'm not mistaken. Scouts Alumni did it a long time ago. But especially opening it up to like an open class drum corps, just to get a little bit more visibility for open class. They deserve a lot more visibility than what they get right now in the activity. And Spartans are really on the rise right now. I mean, don't get me wrong, they've been around for like almost 70 years, but they're doing fantastic. They've rebounded from COVID very, very well, and the products they've been putting out the past couple of years is fantastic. And this is just another stepping stone to get more visibility for them. So, I mean, kudos to what Spartans is doing right now, honestly, all around from top to bottom.
And bands are such a time-honored tradition in the Macy's parade. Like, to see a drum corps come in, like, you see all these marching bands and they're doing such a great job, and then you see a drum corps come in and it's just, you know, it's kind of like we get to actually show the difference to all of the sort of lay people who are not marching band nuts like us, and they go, that's a little different. That's not a normal marching band. And then you can be like, oh yeah, it's a drum corps. Here's why it's different. Speaking of parades, Jeremy, you have brought a news story about parades. It's related, but
yeah, so CNN just recently published a story saying that parades are not fun. I think that we on this podcast would all kind of be able to say that parades are fun.
Oh, definitely.
I read the article. I understand their points where it's hot. You have to wear a uniform. But I think that as people that I do a lot of parades now as an adult for the joy and for the fun, and we have a blast. So I would disagree that I would say parades are fun.
Okay, it's Jeremy's turn to jump in since I'm the one that brought this up and I'm the one that went off about it initially. So my entire job outside of guard closet is producing parades. I do a lot of them. I've done 4th of July for many years, Thanksgiving, Pride, like Cherry Blossom, Miss America. Like, I've done a million parades. I haven't performed in that many, to be honest with you, but I have produced a lot of them. So I've seen how groups do and do not do parades well. We were having a little bit of discussion beforehand, before we got on, and Austin was mentioning, well, yeah, it does suck to be a performer in a parade, hot, blah, blah, blah. And immediately my response was, then you're doing it wrong. Because here's the thing, parades are your opportunity to expose yourself to a community. It's your opportunity to, if you're going to the right parades, have like an ever-changing audience that's like, cheering for you all along the way. Every small town, big town, whatever, loves when a band goes by in a parade. This is the problem, and this is the problem I will say, and to resolve it for Austin, I guess, is I actually think that the band directors are the ones that are doing it wrong, right? Like, they're doing parades wrong. They come in and they think like, well, we could just play the show music from the fall and that'll be a great parade too. No, wrong. They think, oh, we can wear the same outfits. The color guard can wear their unicorn outfits from the fall show for the Christmas parade. No, not a good idea, right? Make it fun. It's supposed to be community oriented. Play the most ridiculous song you can. Jump up and down in that parade. Have some sort of fun dance. Turn around, spin, jump, kick, whatever. The idea is to have fun at the parade. That is literally the idea of the parade, is to have fun, is to parade joy through from one place to another. If you don't want to parade joy, then I think you're somebody who is joyless. So I would just challenge anybody, especially band directors, especially performers and instructors that are like, parades suck. I hate parades. Literally, they're your best recruiting tool. They're your best fundraising tool. They're your best, like literally you're walking by your future band members in your hometown parade. If you are feeling terrible about it, you're playing terrible, and you look terrible, no one wants to join that. But I can't tell you how many parades I have seen, even the tiniest little band with like no players, no one in the color guard, having the best time, and the audience living for it, like going off, applauding, jumping up and down for all of these, for them giving the emotion that gives back. I mean, if Jack was on here right now, he'd be going off. Like,
I know.
The entire California circuit is parades. Like, that's how they compete, is parades. That stuff is fierce. Like, they get into it, and there's like points, and it is intense. So I can now step off my soapbox. I feel like I've ranted enough about parades for you all. Feel free to jump in with anybody else's opinions.
If you don't think parades are fun, go to YouTube and type in South Shore Drill Team.
Boom.
Oh,
Yes.
oh.
That's a fun parade.
Right.
It's just what you said. It's a very valid feeling. You have a very valid feeling. It's very valid.
Jeremy, you threw me under the bus so bad. He didn't have to do me like that.
It's just what you said. It's a very valid feeling. You have a very valid feeling. It's very valid.
I mean, when I marched, all right. So when I marched drum corps and everything, like it was very like I marched the troopers, right? And the way we did parades, they don't. I mean, I don't even know if they do parades now. They might do one or two, maybe. But the way we did parades, it was super regimented. It's super like traditional. Like we're just going down, we're just marching, and it wasn't like. And like in 2016, I remember we were at Cedarburg, and that. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's kind of our history. That's what we do. Like we see Carolina Crown going down, and they're just like having fun, like taking pictures with kids and stuff like that. And I'm just like, that looks kind of fun. And then we're just kind of marching down, playing America the Beautiful. However, I did really enjoy the community performance we did afterwards. The town of Cedarburg ate us up, and it was fantastic. But just the actual act of the parade itself was like, it was okay. Like, I mean, I've never like completely disliked, oh my god, I hate parades. This is the worst thing I've ever done in my life. I've never been like that about a parade, but it's not something I necessarily look forward to all the time. It's like, okay, we're gonna do this parade, awesome. Let's just keep it moving. You know what I mean? That's my personal experience with them. I probably need to like experience them more as like a performer where I'm able to like have a little bit more fun. But don't get me wrong. If I'm not a sucker for sitting on the sideline eating a funnel cake and an overpriced freshly squeezed lemonade, come on. I love sitting on the sides and just enjoying myself.
because Austin, the troopers were probably trying to stay away from these old time drum corps trolls on Facebook who oh my gosh, did you see a couple of weeks ago the Boston Crusaders marching in a parade playing Sweet Caroline, which if anybody knows, because I'm a baseball fan, that Sweet Caroline is a Red Sox thing. They played at Fenway Park. That was what they were trying to do, and they were not. We were marching down. The color guard was doing random work. They weren't in. All of a sudden, all the old time drum corps trolls. They're not in step. They're not in uniform. They're not. What is this? Whatever. Blah blah blah. And what we're trying to portray is that parades are fun, and that is kind of a day for the kids to let down a little bit. You know, the troopers are probably like, then we're just going to have to listen to all these people on Facebook. We're not in staff. We're not playing our show. We're not, it's crazy. Like, just, can we have a day off a tour where kids are just, like Jeremy Williams said, performing for the community or doing something fun for the community. I mean, whatever.
For me, I think the only time I would say the parades are not fun is like I'm thinking back to when I was in drum corps and they're like, it's the 4th of July and you're going to march in 7 parades today.
Right. Right.
That's when it's not fun.
Yeah, I
we
think
all get the bag aspect of it. We all get that.
Most definitely, the 7 parade series is what puts a bad mouth in a lot of people's minds. Oh God, it's 4th of July. So Austin, I feel your pain, but I have to agree with Jeremy too. Those parades when you have fun, you love it. As a matter of fact, every 4th of July, some people who were in the drum corps with me, we marched a 4th of July weekend where it rained all day, and in the cadence we stopped playing and we're like, I'm drumming in the rain, I'm drumming in, and then we picked up with the rest of the street people. And now here, 40 years later, it just pops up. Someone talks about that day because we had so much fun because we weren't that traditional drum corps that you were talking about.
You can make it more fun for the next generation when you go teach.
Exactly, and that's my plan. That's always my plan. Make it like we did a parade. I was on staff with Battalion last year. We did a parade with them. It was a good time. They looked like they were having fun. I mean, I'm running up and down the ranks, just handing out water. It's a whole thing, and everyone. It was in Provo, so they have a really good Fourth of July parade out there. They know how to do Fourth of July, and they were fun, and the kids had a great time, and then they did laundry after, and it was great. So my experience as a staff member has been better in parades than it was as a performer. So
Yeah, because if you want to stop and get something to eat, you can. I'll catch you guys later. I'll be back.
Well, I have our final news article for today, and I'm so sorry. It's a sad one, but at the same time, I feel like we should kind of look at it as a celebration of life because Peggy Twigs has passed away at 72 years old. I feel like it was very symbolic that it happened on the day of our Blue Stars 60th anniversary alumni tour. It was just devastating to hear this news on the day, but it gave us an opportunity to sort of dedicate our performance to her. And she was such an influence on Color Guard and pushing us to where we are today. She was one of the first people to ever spin a flag, to teach flag spinning versus simply just carrying a flag and doing angles with it back in, the 1960s. And, we did a whole episode, we did multiple episodes actually where we discussed her back in, I think it was April of 2023, that we published. Specifically, episode 21 is the interview where it's literally called The One About Peggy Twigs. And we interviewed some of her friends. We interviewed one of her best childhood friends, Ann Fields, and talked to her. We are very, very sad for the passing of Peggy. She has been an absolute icon in our in our whole activity. I'm sorry, I'm getting really sad about this again. Just that she's gone, but I feel honored too that I was able to walk the earth at the same time as someone who has been such an icon and such an influence on that very activity that I'm so passionate about.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot for me too. When I was in Royal Guardsmen in the 80s, we had the 2 years, 1984 and 1986, which were actually our two most successful years. We had Jerry Cordino as our show designer, and he's from Boston. So he would bring that whole Boston crew, and along with Sadie, who we're going to talk to in a upcoming episode. And I have tons of stories. I'm not going to get into them today that I'm saving for that episode. But they would come in, the whole little Boston contingent, which included, get this, George Zingali, Mark Sylvester, Peggy Twigs, and Denise Bonfiglio. And I can't tell you how fortunate I am to have, been in that presence. And many years later, I'll tell one short story and I'll save the really good stuff for the episode. But many years later, when I marched in the Syracuse Brigadiers, I was one of probably the oldest in the Guard that year. Was my last year, and our instructors said, "Okay, we're gonna learn. We're gonna do some Peggy spins. How many people know how to do Peggy spins?" And I was one of the people who raised my hand, and they said, "Oh, really? Did you do them in like one of your other guards?" I said, "Yeah," and I learned them from Peggy. And everybody was like, "Oh!" So that's one of my many stories about Peggy Twigs. Anybody who follows me on Facebook saw that I made my profile picture her. I literally, the year she was inducted into the WGI Hall of Fame, ran across the airport. I documented the whole thing if you want to read it. And I went up to her. She was in her wheelchair. She was with Sadie and all those guys. And I said, "Peggy, I don't know if you remember me. I'm Trish. I was in Royal Guardsmen." And she said, yes, she did. And probably from being friends with me on Facebook too, probably jarred her memory as well. And I said, "I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy to see you. I need to take a picture." And the minute I found out that it happened, I scrolled through all my pictures to find that picture. And that was a moment I knew I wasn't going to be able to make the ceremony because I was actually out there with the Guard that year, West Milford, and we had rehearsal. But Just, I could go on, and I'm trying to save it all for the episode, but when Jackie just started, sharing the news story, I too got a little emotional. So I have my Peggy Twigs t-shirt all ready for the episode. I found it the other day, so I'm good to go, but just know that we definitely lost an icon. But she's in a better place now. She suffered for many years.
It's true.
What I do realize, seems though I am a percussionist, not a color guard person, but I have been deeply involved in the color guard world. I do realize she's like the Scott Johnson of color guard. She's like the Ralph Hardiman of color guard. And for her to have reached that far, that I clearly know who you're talking about and what she's done, it speaks volumes about when a person from another caption can reach across and the other segments of the activity know exactly who that person is. That speaks volumes about it. But I do have a question. First off, I have a couple things. Trish, Royal Guardsman, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how much I loved that color guard.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
When people say that, or like when the Dindada show goes, which was my age out here, when that goes up on Color Guard Corner and people comment on it, like the fact that it's still reaching so many, I mean, I get all the feels when people say that. Like when people are like, oh my God, I remember this show. Oh my God, the arena was so loud, and oh my God. And like, it just hits me right here, because we never really thought that.
Well,
at that time, we never really thought that. We just do it.
You should be proud. You should be proud, lady.
Thank you.
Because it actually inspired a lot of my indoor drumline thinking, the way you guys approach the whole activity.
Thank you.
Now, my question is this. Peggy Twigs, was she involved in Urte production?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Be still my heart.
Yeah, she was involved in all those Quasar, Urte, all those Boston, and Emerald Marquis, all the great Boston color guards.
I did not know Emerald Marquis also.
Mm-hmm.
See, that is my secret sauce for when I started the drumline thing. That I was such a color guard junkie, and I'm like, I don't want to move like a drumline. I want to move like a color guard. I want the sabers. I want the bass drums to be the flags, and everyone laughed at me. Now look at drumline. I love it. I love it. Thank you for clearing that up. I'm not telling you why.
Well, Peggy Twigs is going to forever be remembered as a titan in our activity. So we are planning a much larger tribute show to her that will be out very soon. We're putting a lot more into it, though. We are going to be including some previous footage, like our interview that we did with Ann Fields. And like I said, we're going to have some repeat guests on, so keep an ear out for that. And let's get back out on the floor so we can clean up some let's do some Peggy spins for Peggy Twigs today. We'll be
all vertical.
Hey, this is Christine Ream
and Chris Green.
Guard Closet was founded as a consignment business in 2000. Since then, it has grown to include winter guard, band, percussion, and other genres.
We can help you with custom flag and costuming designs.
Our consignment inventory has plenty of great looks for your color guard, drumline, and marching band.
Pay it forward. When you purchase consignment, you help other programs. Last year, we sold over 400 sets of consignments and returned over $125,000 in payments to our consigners for their sales.
Additionally, Guard Closet offers custom and pre-designed costumes, flags, floors, and formal wear, full or partial show writing, educational programming, and other services.
Max out your rehearsal time and set up a microsite for easy student ordering for shoes, gloves, and other equipment.
The Guard Closet team is here to help you get everything you want and need for your season. Check us out at guardcloset.com and follow us on social media.
I back on the sideline, and definitely we have got to talk about this because this has been one of the most amazing experiences of my color guard career. And I am so excited that Jeremy Denzer and I got to share this together. And like so many of the people, we did the Blue Stars Alumni Drum Corps this past weekend, and it was so great. We just basically like showed up and we were there. We rehearsed on Friday for like half the day, and then all day Saturday we got to have the banquet. And then on Sunday we rehearsed again, and we actually rehearsed with the current Blue Stars. And it was just such an amazing experience, you know, getting to meet the current performers and see how many of our traditions have been passed on from the years that we marched. So seeing how like all the different performers from the different generations,
she's in carbon freeze again,
were acting in rehearsal and then like getting out on the field and turning it on together. It was just such an amazing experience. And Jeremy and I got to share the field.
Yeah, I think one of the cool things that the Blue Stars did with this is it was a commitment, but it was just 3 days. They gave us a full drum corps experience. Like we got to eat on the food truck. We got to like, it was like we were really there for drum corps. It wasn't like we just showed up and like we ate with the corps. We practiced with the corps. We were part of the current corps. For me, the coolest part of the whole weekend, and this is kind of a really interesting story, is that so my mom was a founding member of the Blue Stars. So she was in year one of Blue Stars, and she marched from 64 to 71, and then I marched in the Blue Stars in year 30. So just one summer, so she was in year one, I was in year 30, and we got to take the field together for the 60th. And that was, yeah.
I saw that picture you posted. That was incredible. That's such a great memory.
Mm-hmm. It was, for me, I've been in this activity for 40 plus years, and it was one of the highlights is really getting to be on the field and kind of complete that circle between me and my mom. Yeah. So it was just a really special weekend. Yeah. All around. Yeah. And I think it was cool too that we had, especially in the color guard, I know the horn line, probably the same situation, but we had people from every decade of the corps. We had 22 performers, but we had people from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and we had people that aged out last summer.
I think it made it so much easier too for those of us, like, you know, you were talking about like you have so much on your plate and how do you handle all these things? But like being so far away, like physically in distance, makes a huge difference too. You know, I had to come all the way up from Missouri. And then like for me, it's like I was juggling a toddler and having to, you know, and being pregnant and all of that at once. So like being from so far away, I feel like Penny's organization and then like Sally being on top of it with the costuming and like all of that was just fantastic, because basically I felt like I learned all my stuff I needed to from the videos, and then I could just walk in and get done what I needed to do. So that was really great that they were able to like pull all those things together. And like I said, the videos were so helpful.
I think some of the alumni that were in the original stages of planning the corps, they were looking for somebody to help with the guard. They knew that I was heavily involved in the guard activity. I teach, I judge, I organize a lot of things. So they reached out to me and just said, would you be interested in running the color guard? And my first thought was, I have so much on my plate. I literally said, I can't I can't commit to being like caption head. And thankfully we found another great alumni, Penny Reedy, who is an angel. She's super organized. She's super like on the ball. She handled that piece of it. And I was able to handle helping with choreography and teaching and the things that I do best. But I was so thankful to have Penny jump on board and really, she was a trooper. She was like super organized and super, like she did costumes and she got everybody to practice. And for the people that, some of the older members that, may have needed more time to rehearse, that couldn't just show up and learn it. She had rehearsals twice a week for like months in lacrosse with these people to teach them ahead of time, so that everybody came in ready to go. The younger kids were able to learn the choreography in the 3 days, but the people that needed more time didn't feel overwhelmed, and that made it a great experience for everyone. Yeah.
I think it made it so much easier too for those of us, like, you know, you were talking about like you have so much on your plate and how do you handle all these things? But like being so far away, like physically in distance makes a huge difference too. You know, I had to come all the way up from Missouri. And then like for me, it's like I was juggling a toddler and having to, you know, and being pregnant and all of that at once. So like being from so far away, I feel like Penny's organization and then like Sally being on top of it with the costuming and like all of that was just fantastic because basically I felt like I learned all my stuff I needed to from the videos and then I could just walk in and get done what I needed to do. So that was really great that they were able to like pull all those things together. And like I said, the videos were so helpful.
And Jackie, you were a trooper. I mean, you're 7 months pregnant and you're out there on the field. It was like with your son with you, who is adorable.
I love that block so much.
Somebody captured a great picture of Jackie
I'll
and
have
her
to
son.
share it with you guys.
He has this little flag, and his flag is the same angle as hers. And it was
Oh, where is that picture? Oh my god,
so good.
Someone put that picture in the group chat right now.
I think one of my favorite things was not only, you know, watching you guys out there doing your thing. I watched it on full marching, but the way the whole program was designed, like you had your past, your present, and then when the current corps got out there, and then you were like, you know, and then the announcer was like, and then we've only just begun, and then you played We Only Just Begun from the Carpenter Show, which I love that show. So that was like, oh, that's so clever, that's so great. That was really great.
For me, one of the biggest moments was when I joined the staff. I was adamant because a lot of people know the Blue Stars. They were a world-class corps in the 60s and 70s, and then in the 80s and 90s, they were a Division III corps, like 50-something kids. That's when I marched. And when I joined the staff and we started talking about musical selections and design, I was like, we have to do something that honors the small corps. Yeah.
Yes.
And so they pulled out the closer from our Candide show in '93. They did the actual drill. They had 14 brass, which was the exact number of brass we had that year. They pulled the drill charts out. They did the real drill that we did.
That's great.
That was for me. That was the most emotional moment of the weekend because a lot of the alumni from that period have always kind of felt overlooked in the history of the Blue Stars, and it really made everybody feel welcome. Yeah, and made everybody feel like they were part of the history of the Corps. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. The organization itself did a very good job bringing that Corps back to life. I was with the Jersey Surf, and we butt heads with the Blue Stars a lot. And I look now, I'm like, oh, well, that ship has passed. Man, you guys did a very good job bringing that back to life.
Yeah, when we first started talking, I was very insistent that they had to do something to show that part of the Corps' history.
I don't know, Jackie, Jeremy, if you guys see it. As I'm thinking, this seems to be a new thing that's going on in our drum corps world, and we're not even realizing it. That, well, you had the Blue Coats alumni, you just had the Trooper. I did the Troopers alumni thing, and my wife just went back out to Wyoming 2 weeks ago for their little once-a-year meeting, and now this Blue Star thing, the Crossman thing is just blowing up the internet. I think this may be something that, you know, as drum corps fans, we expect, you know, hey, who's next on the list? You know, when's the Blue Devil or Santa Clara or Madison alumni going to come out?
I think that the corps themselves are starting to realize too that as drum corps becomes more expensive, it's really important to keep your alumni engaged and to keep them feeling like they're part of the organization.
Yes.
This experience for me really made me feel like I was really a part of the corps again. Yeah.
My wife, who kind of got away from drum corps, now that she got involved with this Troopers thing, she's like a drum corps bum. I'm like, oh my God, lady. Hey, she went.
Woody, who's your wife?
Who's my wife?
Yeah, what's her name?
Leslie Woodward.
Okay. Funny story. I'm the drill writer for the Troopers Legacy Corps.
You know what? I did not even see you the whole weekend. And
I wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I couldn't make it out that weekend. I was very sad that I couldn't make it, but I put all the charts together for the color guard and made the sunburst happen and everything, and I heard it went really good. So,
well, then you know the energy that they had.
I do. Was she there in the Lucas Oil last year?
Yeah. Wow. I work with the drum corps.
How did I not see you? I was running all the rehearsals.
Well, if you think about how everything kind of went together, the drumline was in their planet, the pit was in their planet, the horn, and no one really saw each other until we got together for the Sound Sport Week contest. Like, oh, it's everybody, it just worked out.
I was the one up in the press box barking at all you guys the entire time.
And even if you think about staff-wise, we didn't really see each other until Sound Sport. And even at that, we didn't have time to say, hey, I'm Bill Woodward. Nice to meet you, Austin. It was like, hey, can you help get this in there? Yeah, all right. It's kind of hectic. But I think this is a new thing that we're seeing in DCI. I think it's like you said, it's great to have the alumni involved.
Hey now.
Because they feel welcome. And like Jackie was saying, how with the performers, how amazed she was, how much they enjoyed having the elderly people around.
Who are you calling elderly?
In their book, 2010 that's old school.
I feel like that actually was probably the most important part of the whole weekend for me. I loved performing and I loved getting all the pictures back and the videos and getting to work with everybody. But I kind of feel like that touching base with the current performers was the absolute pinnacle of the whole weekend. There was a group of young color guard members who approached me at the banquet who were actually fans of Spintronics and fans of all the social media stuff that I do. They listen to the podcast. So hi guys. And they had no idea actually that they were continuing a legacy that I had been a part of. And it kind of really brought things to be more real and more full circle for those performers. And for me as well, I'm still a part of this, even though I'm not physically here. I put in the work to help make this organization go. And I feel like that's kind of what you were saying about, the 80s and 90s corps needing to feel integrated too, is that we were the ones who really put in the work when times were hard so that these kids could just fly. They can show up and they can have excellent meals and they have a medical staff and they have all these things that are just that we would have loved when we marched, but we didn't have. And it's just so good for them to sort of see where their careers could go from here. So I also got to meet my adopted son, quote unquote, that I took on through the Blue Stars Adopt a Member program this year. This is my first year participating in it. And, actually getting to meet this kid face to face, where we've only corresponded over social media before, or I've just sent him care packages or what have you. It's been a really good experience to actually get to connect with him and be like, hey, this is who I am. This is who you are. Seeing him progress in his skills and techniques has been awesome. And I think, again, that made things really, really real and connects drum corps back to real life versus just it's that dream thing that I did 20 years ago or 30 years ago or whatever. No, it really happened.
That's my wife. My wife talks about her adopted member all the time. She talks to me as if I know this young lady.
I do the same thing to my husband.
Well, today, Sally, she tripped on an ear of corn. And I'm like, who is Sally?
Well, my adopted Blue Star is named Jack, which I think is hilarious. That's not the reason I picked him, but I think it's hilarious that his name is Jack because that's actually what I was called. Because when I first started marching drum corps, there was a Jack and there were two Jackies, so I was Jack. and his actual name is Jack. So I just thought that's so funny, and I tell my husband all the time. I'm like, "Oh yeah, Jack did such and such today. Oh, you should have seen how good Jack's solo toss was today." And all this, he's just like, "Who's Jack again? Your other kid? Okay, got it."
Oh, that's hilarious.
I bet if they worked on learning how to produce this with all the drum corps, you would probably get more mileage out of that than hey, send a donation.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think too, like when now that we got to see firsthand like how this food truck operation manages and all these things they do, and I was like, now next time they call and be like, will you give us a donation to help fund for the food truck? We're like, sure, I will, because I see what they do for these kids, and it's so much more than I could have ever imagined 30 years ago when I marched. Yeah,
food truck.
It was simply amazing to see the operation of the Corps from the inside. Yeah.
So do you guys have plans to continue the Blue Stars alumni group?
There's also actually the Blue Stars has the alumni corps at the Oktoberfest parade, which is every September, not October. It's the last weekend in September. Yep. They so that's something that keeps the organization kind of going too, is just getting those alumni there, getting them connected. That's one of those things where I say every year, I'm like, I'm going to make it to the Oktoberfest parade this year. And then something happens, like I get pregnant or something, I don't know. And then I just can't go. So it's just a whole situation. But we need to get ready for our parade. So let's get out on the track and make some laps. And we'll see you guys after the commercial.
Hey everyone, it's Jeremy, and here are your announcements coming from the box. Don't miss all of our bonus content, including On a Water Break in Rhinestones with your host Lexi Duda, exploring the world of the twirlers. Don't miss Parades and Drum Majors at Step Off with your host Jack Goudreau, and get lost in translation with your host Cynthia Bernard, exploring all the words that confuse all of us in the marching arts all across the world. And go behind the lens with marching arts photographers all across the country with your host, Chris Marr. Plenty more bonus content from On a Water Break, so listen anywhere you get your podcasts. If you want to be on a Water Break as a guest, or you know somebody that would make a great guest for On a Water Break, email us at onawaterbreakpodcast@gmail.com or find us on social media. Okay, field staff, take it away.
Let's reset.
Okay, now it's time for What Are We Doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Okay, so my what are we doing this week is, what are we doing not getting out and watching live drum corps? There's a show right down the road from me on Saturday. It's mostly an all-age show. It's the Hawthorne Caballeros Grand Prix, but Jersey Surf is there, and I'm not sure, a couple of alumni. But yeah, I posted that I had an extra ticket, and people are like, no, I'm going to say I'm going to watch the other shows on Flow Marching. Like, what are we doing not getting out and watching live drum corps? Come on. Side note, I did find somebody to take the ticket, but...
Oh, man, I was about to ask you for it.
Oh, you were? Well, bummer.
I live in Florida. I would love to show up.
Yeah. Next time.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, but come out and watch live drum corps. Come on.
All age needs love.
It's for sure. For sure. But I'll be there. I'll be having a good time. I might even do a couple of Gush Go and What Are We Doing while I'm there. We don't know. Who knows?
Woody, what are we doing?
I said, well, Captain Jack, I'm going to jump on the back of Trisha here. And I was reading articles about people complaining about the designs of the shows and things like that, and they're not, and that's why they're not going to the shows, because I don't want to see. It's not drum corps. I've been hearing this. I've been hearing this pretty much all my life. It's right up there with the parades and walking by the American Legion. Play something. It's it's evolution. Things changed. Things changed. Yes. Who would ever imagine in 1980 something that there would be an electric guitar on the field? But there is. Oh well. You know what? Let's see what they do with it. It may be entertaining. If it's not entertaining, guess what? You will not see that electric guitar the next year because it didn't work. That's what that's how I'm feeling.
Oh, I got a
Austin,
good one.
what about you?
What are we doing comparing caption scores across shows? Why are we doing that? We don't need to do that.
Yes.
Like, if there's a show in Ohio and there's a show in Utah, you don't need to overanalyze the scores. It literally, you can't compare. There's two different panels. People have different opinions. The only time you can actually, I mean, this is a hot take. It's not a hot take, but it's going to be a hot take. The only time you can really start to analyze scores is like that is San Antonio. It's the first time you can do it all season.
Agreed.
You can't do it. You can't do it. Like,
which is coming up.
There's people out there posting, here are the current rankings in brass, here are the current rankings in color guard, here are the current rankings in visual, and I'm just like, guys, it's not that deep. It's really not that deep. These groups are getting better every single day. And
but when you were
different
in
panels
it,
have
but when
different
you were
opinions about
really
different
in
things.
it, did you feel the same way?
Yes,
you
I
were
absolutely
really.
did.
Oh, you did.
Absolutely
Okay.
did. Absolutely.
Okay.
I cared, like when I was in it, I cared about the competition that we were going up against that night.
Okay.
I cared about going out there and being the best performer that I could be so we could get our personal best score.
Because I'm going to tell you right here and right now, if I'm in Winter Guard season, if I'm in a main show in West Orange and there's another show in Pennsylvania, you best be I'm refreshing those.
Oh, I'm gonna look
Pennsylvania
at them to
scores.
see where they're at, but I'm not gonna go in and overanalyze it like a lot of the armchair judges do these days.
Okay.
Well, I think that Trish, that may be a generational gap. We are a numbers driven activity back when.
We still are.
Now, which now is more of a performance driven versus numbers excellence driven. I feel that way.
But I'm not talking about back in the old day where it was like, 7 tenths, they had 7 drops, and then we had. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about it still is numbers driven, and
absolutely is numbers driven.
When you're in it, when I'm in it, all right, I'm going to speak for myself. When I'm in it, I'm playing that game, but maybe some other people aren't. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I tell as a staff member now, I tell my students all the time. I'm like, hey, this group got an XYZ at this show. Congrats, the show was in Texas, you're in Florida. Or, hey, that show was in Ohio, we're in Colorado today, Like, you can't really, it's hard to compare the two because it's different people who have different opinions about different groups. And when it only really matters when we go up head to head. Like, here's a perfect example. I'm gonna talk about my group, or one of my groups, Horizon Wins. At the circuit championships, we were 8 points down on our direct competition. We were sitting in a solid 4th place. We got up to Ohio a week later. We ended up in 2nd place at prelims, and had everyone else, and had the two groups that were below us by a point. Everybody did phenomenal job.
And you guys know, like in the judging community, we're really trying hard to make things more consistent and make the training more consistent and make people understand like what they're looking at better. But there's still going to be individual opinions that affect what we're doing. And we're really trying not to let that happen. But like, it still does. We're still human. You know, judges are humans. Judges were out there once performing. Judges were out there teaching at some point, you know, so we understand the struggles. So we're going to try and do our best to make it as, you know, as straightforward as possible. But you really can't compare scores across different judging panels with different people.
I judge a lot in the winter. I travel all over the country, and I think that for me that's so important because I get to see groups from all different regions. So I know where a mid box 4 is it for me. Like, and I feel like I can actually compare like a group from Texas to a group from Florida because I've seen them both.
Yeah, you know, if you don't get out and see that variety, you know, your box 4 may be different than my box 4.
Exactly.
Or, you know, if you have a show where everything is bad, and then one group that comes on that's really a box 3, almost 4, now appears to be a box 4 going into box 5 because everything before it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, I know we shouldn't be saying that word, but they were box 2. You know.
And that, yeah.
There are box 2
That absolutely ties
performances.
back
It's
into Trish's point. If you're not watching live drum corps, then you can't get an accurate read. Then you can't get a completely accurate read on the show. So
right.
we'll tie it all together. It's hard to compare scores if you're not watching live drum corps.
Because
You know?
Trish is wise. Trish is very wise. She marched in Royal Guardsmen.
Jeremy, what are we doing?
What are we doing being overcritical of early season performances of drum corps? Like, trust the process. These people that teach these drum corps now are like professionals, and they have a plan and they have a process. Why are we, especially the armchair critics, why are we so critical of early season performances? Yeah, they know what they're doing. But by the end of the season, they're going to be magical.
Yeah, just watching the Blue Stars, it like, you know, we were there for 3 days. You know, they showed up on, what was it, Saturday morning, and we kind of like watched the guard in their flag block, and it was like, ooh, that's a little dirty. Why does it look like that? I thought this was going to be Blue Stars and this was going to be spot on. That same phrase that they were working on Saturday morning, when they performed it Sunday night, I was like, oh, honey, this phrase is spot on. Okay, that's what they were doing. That's the process. And, you know, I think people forget that sometimes, that it takes time and effort to get everything to that point. You know, especially if it's somebody who just watches finals every year. They just download Flow like a month before finals, and then they just watch finals. And then, you know, if they show up for an early season show at the next season, they're like, I thought drum corps was better than this. No. They have to get there somehow.
Takes time, takes effort. I mean, and you also kind of got to remember, they're just kids out there. They're just kids out there. They're not going to be perfect. You expect greatness from them because that's what they signed up to do, but like we're saying, there's a process. It takes time to get great. They rehearse a month before their first show. So put that out there.
Well, we have a very special What Are We Doing this week from our very own Lex. So let's hear what they have to say.
What's up, guys? It's Lex, and I think it's about time that we get into a conversation about, you guessed it, the rise of criticism in the drum corps world from alumni. Buckle up for this little chat, because we are going to explore why the alumni of the marching arts are getting their shako feathers all ruffled up in a tiff. Picture this. You just walked off the field from a show. You have no clue what state you're in, but you're out of breath, you're sweaty, and you're definitely hungry. You change out of your costume, you go to the food truck, and you grab some snacks. You get all settled up in your seat, ready for a long drive to God knows where, because you've already forgotten what day it is, and you decide to open up your phone. You click on social media, and you see that there's a video of your drum corps show that you just performed like an hour ago. What do you do next? You click on the comments, and what do you see? None other than the alumni of the drum corps world chiming in with everything from back in my day, we marched uphill both ways to these kids don't know anything about good old-fashioned drum corps. What is the deal? Why the sudden surge in alumni criticism and really just unhappiness with the advancement of the activity? First off, let's just be real. We can't ignore the fact that the activity is changing faster than a closer tempo drill. Shows today are an incredible blend of artistry, creativity, athleticism, and yes, talking about a comment I saw just about 30 minutes ago, acrobatics. And while most of us are loving the evolution of this incredible activity, some alumni are still shaking their heads and wondering what in the world is going on. I'm convinced that alumni see all of these advancements and changes and they think, well, we had to sweat it out in polyester and you get to actually dress in costumes. Where's the justice? While I wish I could say I don't understand where their criticism is coming from, as an alumni and educator in the activity, I think I have a pretty good idea. Drum roll, please. Beneath all of the criticism still lies a deep love for an activity that gave them pride in something. Alumni want to see the drum corps activity thrive. And their passion, even if sometimes hyperbolic, I think we can take the feedback as a testament to how much they do care. They want to ensure the essence of what made their season special remains alive. We just have to remind them that that is still possible even as drum corps evolves. So here's to our alumni out there. We do hear you. We do see you. Your voices are crucial. And honestly, we don't know what we would do without you. To our current members, keep pushing boundaries, keep creating, keep innovating, and keep making this art and make it your own way. And lastly, to the alumni once again, remember that these members are standing where you once stood. They're dreaming just as big as you once did, and they are marching as hard as you once were. If there was anything that I think that you should criticize and put that energy towards, it's towards the rising dues of drum corps, not the advancement of it. See you later.
Great job, everyone. Set your equipment down. Gush and go.
All right, enough complaining. Let's turn this positive. What do you want to gush and go about, Trish?
Well, my independent team is having a spin clinic next Saturday up here in North Jersey in Emerson. Check out at NV Winterguard for details. And if you have any kids up in the area, in the North Jersey area, or even New York, come on by and check it out.
That's my retirement dream, I think, is I just want to go around the country and go to everyone's spin clinics. I'm just going to figure it all out and travel around to everybody's spin clinics all summer and just
the World Guards up
I
in
think
this area, Fusion and AMP, do great ones. But it's so challenging for us because, I have to bring in guest staff to do mine. Fusion and AMP, they have the kids do it because they're all world-class performers. And they teach, I know, for example, AMP's spin clinics, they teach the AMP flag feature. And the kids are all jazzed because they just learned AMP's flag feature. So, it's really super hard and challenging. So anybody in the North Jersey area, if you're listening, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, come on by next Saturday, July 20th. Details at NV Winterguard.
Woohoo! Woody, what do you want to gush and go on about?
Well, I want to gush and go about preparing myself for this upcoming marching band season. It's probably one of the busiest busiest seasons I've had since, the last 10 years. I'm judging every weekend, plus I'm teaching and I'm writing. So I guess you could say I'm getting myself ready because clinics start in, I guess, 2 weeks. Judging clinics and drum corps coming to the area, and I'm just getting myself ready for that. I'm very excited about this fall.
Austin, what do you want to gush and go about?
I'm excited for fall season. It's starting off here in about 10 days or so. Jumping on a plane out to Hawaii to make that happen. To go teach a band camp out there. I'm so excited.
Ooh.
I'm so excited. They do things a lot differently out there, and I'm very excited to kind of like come back and tell y'all how they do things out there. I'll get to check out a school, Leilahua High School, and then I'll probably pop into Mililani High School just to kind of check them out and see what they're up to as well. But then making, like, right after that week, going straight to Charlotte, doing another band camp, and then just writing and teaching, and then it's all nonstop till probably about Grand Nationals. So it's going to be busy, but very, very worth it. So I'm very excited to get fall season going. I've had a break. I'm ready to not have a break anymore.
I'm so not there yet. I admire you. I'm so not there yet mentally. I've done a lot of like the behind the scenes stuff and stuff like that from my band, but obviously because, it has to get done, but I'm not there yet with, oh my God, it's almost band camp. I'm not there yet, but I will be.
My brain is going, band camp is in a month. I'm going to be 8 months pregnant at that point.
It's in a month for you?
Whew. Yeah, we have like dead weeks at the end of July, and we start band camps at the first week of August. Yeah. But then we don't start school until the end of August. So it's a whole thing. It only just happened a few years ago, like right after COVID, they changed our whole school calendar around. So I don't even want to talk about it, but I'm going to be very pregnant whenever band camp happens.
That parallels our area here on the East Coast. We're on that schedule. Band camps the first 3 weeks of August or so, or the last 3 weeks. And then the season starts in the second week of September.
What's up, guys? It's Lex, back with your Gush and Go chat. And let's talk about all the incredible things that I have been seeing in the color guard activity just this past year. I can't. There have been so many clinics and master classes and workshops that have been popping up everywhere lately. And I love it because these are offering so many opportunities for performers and educators to learn from like the best of the best in this activity. And whether it's perfecting technique, learning new tricks, or understanding how to teach nuances of performance, all of these resources and opportunities are elevating the member skills, the educational skills, and just elevating the activity in general. And let's not forget, it's elevating the confidence of all of our performers across the board. I can't wait to see what's being offered in the fall. Okay, guys, Gush and Go's over. Get back out there.
Jeremy, what do you want to gush?
I'd love to discussion go about the people that organized the Blue Stars Alumni Corps. All the people that worked behind the scenes to make that weekend so special. Robbie Hofstetler, Fred Feeney, Penny Reedy, just to name a few people that were highly involved in the organization of the weekend. All the people that were on the staff and taught. And all the members. It was. I could just gush and go forever about what a special weekend it was for the Corps and for the alumni.
I need to gush and go about the photographers and the social media crews at the CI. We've been getting all of our pictures back slowly. The ones that were done for the Alumni Corps were by @MLock Photography. And Michaela she did such a great job of making sure she covered all of the different sections. She really hit some of those moments that, moments where you're like, oh, this is such a great moment. And like, but is anybody going to remember it? But then you go through the pictures and it's like, somebody got a picture of it. And I feel like she was just on it. And I always admire, you know, the photographers in the marching arts, because it's such a skill to be able to capture those, especially action shots. And then, you know, you're dealing with like stadium lighting or gym lighting or whatever, or natural lighting outdoors. And like they do such a great job with that. So gush and go about all of the photographers, the social media teams that are out there doing their job. That's, y'all rock. Y'all are amazing. If you guys want to follow at MLock Photo, she does a fantastic job. I tagged her in like all of my recent posts because I used all of her pictures.
Hey, it's called Gush and Go, not Gush and Stay. Let's go.
Thank you all for a great rehearsal this week. Thank you to our hosts, Trish, Woody, Austin, and thank you so much to our guest clinician, Jeremy, my new bestie. Where can we find you on social media if our listeners want to keep up with
Instagram, Jeremy Denzer, pretty easy. So you can find me on both. Pretty active with posts about the marching arts and stuff. So feel free to follow.
Well, one more thing. Don't forget, we have our YouTube channel now. It has many of our interviews coming out as full video editions. Go and subscribe so you don't miss those. And before you close out your podcast listening app, make sure you are subscribed. Write us a review. Write a review of this episode, if you will. Share this with a friend. And then follow us on all of our social media at On a Water Break. And we'll see you at the next rehearsal.
Let's go practice.
The On a Water Break podcast was produced by Jeremy Williams and Christine Reams. The intro and outro music was produced by Josh Lyda. To learn more, visit lydamusic.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.